the startup bus. You were on the startup bus, right?
Yeah.
I've seen pictures. I've seen the Instagram, right? I want to hear
Yeah.
about you. I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. Tell me about your startup bus experience.
Oh man. So this would have been in 2012. My experience with startups in general at that point was like going to a startup weekend once. Like I was working in the agency world and just kind of knew some guys who were running the Brandery, an accelerator here in Cincinnati. But it was not much more than that. And heard about the startup bus and decided like, hey, this is basically startup weekend on a bus to South by Southwest. Like, sounds kind of cool. So jumped on it, got a few friends to join. But once we got on there, kind of split up with a lot of them and met with, Rodney Williams and Josh Glick and a couple others to start a company called Listener. So we started on the bus with this idea that we knew there was this technology out there that could send audio, data over audio, but we wanted to leverage that in like it was used, by like brands to understand like when you walked into a store, but we wanted to embed that into music and kind of deliver content. So if you're listening to a song for the 10th time, you would get like, the unlock. It kind of like that booklet that used to come in CD cases. It doesn't really exist in the digital world. We were trying to recreate that, but kind of as like a reward-based mechanism for listening to this music. And so that was the idea on day one of the bus at 6 a.m. in wherever city we started in. And so all of a sudden we drive around the country for 3 days. Like it doesn't take 3 days to drive from, the middle of Ohio down to Austin. So we would stop at hotels, just kind of like drive kind of a little too far east and kind of go past, took a stop off in San Antonio. But what we ended up doing as a team was to be able to work on the bus, they gave you these little, AT&T MiFis, but like they did not have any reasonable internet speed. And so it was so unproductive to be on the bus that we would just sleep on the bus. And when we stopped at a hotel at the night, we would just stay up throughout the entire night working, just completely wrecked our sleep schedules. But when we finally got down to Austin, we were definitely by far like the furthest along product wise. We actually had a working prototype with the data being embedded in music and unlocking things on a mobile app through an API. Like it was just the most incredible, 72 hours of development that I've done. And we went out and started pitching it to anyone who'd listen at South by, but also they had these little pitch competitions as part of the startup bus. And we, ended up winning our bus and made it to like the regionals. So it was like the 10 buses. It was like those 10, like top 10 teams from those buses would move on. And so we pitched there. We didn't win anything there, but we met a couple local investors down at South by, told them about our idea, and basically had a term sheet before we left Austin. So it was just like this incredible experience. And it was like, I knew nothing about startups, knew nothing about any of that when I did it. And, some would say I still know nothing, but, really kind of just like was just jumping in both feet. Like no one on our team had ever done anything like that before. And it kind of like led me, just feet in the fire. And we came back and raised money and just started running from there.